Howdy folks, Calibrated.Core here. Post-Scriptum Chapter 3 trailer has just been released. Let's go ahead and check it out.
You are about to embark upon the Great Crusade. The eyes of the world are upon you. Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well-trained, well-equipped, and battle-hardened. He will fight savagely.
You know, I was thinking about this earlier, and every time I watch a trailer posted by Postscriptum and the Off-World Industries guys, I'm honestly never disappointed. As you guys know, I'm a World War II reenactor, and watching these trailers really immerses me back into that mindset. I can just feel the tension, the grit, and the realism from this game. And I'm just always so impressed at how well they capture just the brutality of war as a whole. Now, obviously, you guys have guessed already that we're going back to Normandy. And at first, I was pretty hesitant about this, because Hell Let Loose just recently had their updates with Omaha Beach and all that. And I was like, well, do we really need another Normandy setting? But I think this is going to be done right. I have to admit, I was disappointed by Hell Let Loose's approach. I think the scale that they were aiming for wasn't suitable for what they were trying to achieve. Whereas when I look at this post-scriptum video, it's kind of sold me on the idea that I think these guys are really going to nail what it would be like to storm the beaches or jump out of the C-47s and so on and so forth. Now, of course, that's just conjecture on my part. I love both games equally, as you guys know, and speak very highly of them. But for some reason, I'm thoroughly convinced that the post-scriptum developers are really going to nail this. I would imagine that some of them had actually played Hell Let Loose, so they've seen some of the discrepancies or inadequacies, and hopefully if they did, they can build upon those issues and say, okay, this is what we need to do in our game, let's see how we can address some of these problems. But enough about the conjecture, let's hop into the actual trailer itself. So the first thing that's evident, it looks like we're actually going to have 3 maps. We're going to have Omaha Beach, St. Mary Glees, and Carrington. And given that we have the player models already for that game, or for those maps, I'm not surprised that would most likely be the case. And furthermore, if you're going to do Normandy, I mean, those are really kind of the iconic battles. But I think one of the things I was disappointed about, I was hoping that they could go ahead and maybe branch out to something different. You know, maybe the 6th Airborne Division's raid on Pegasus Bridge, or some of the 1st Canadian Parachute Battalion's objectives. And given that we have the player models for those guys, it's pretty easy to be able to implement, you know, the British and Canadian contribution to the actual Battle of Normandy itself. Now, going back to map design and looking at Omaha Beach, it does look absolutely fantastic. I think the devs have really captured the gritty feel, the desperation, and the daunting task that the Allied seaborne operation had to contend with when invading Normandy. And then with moving on to Carrington, I mean, that's just Band of Brothers to a T, right? The assault right up the roadway into the city itself. Pretty classic on that, but it looks fantastic. And I think with the new player models and the way that the models react to when getting hit, like we see in the video, it's beautiful. It's really well done. Now, with St. Mary Glees, it'll be interesting to see if we actually drop out of C-47s like we've done in some of the other previous layers. But not only that, is if these C-47s can actually be shot down by 88s. Previously, those C-47s were controlled by AI, and they would have a specific objective that they'd fly over and everybody would jump out. But maybe in this case, we actually get an opportunity to use the 88s or some sort of AA position, like this flat 20 millimeters, and shoot down some planes, because that would be frickin' awesome. Now, moving away from the maps and looking towards the armament that the Allies were using, it's pretty sweet and noticeable that we get a few new vehicles. So the first one that's obvious is the Sherman tank, that duplex drive swimming tank or amphibious tank, if you want to put it that way. Not many of those actually made it to the beach themselves, and they were kind of useless, I guess, when supporting the infantry because most of them sank. But it's still really cool to see the fact that we may be able to have an opportunity to drive one of those beasts up the beach. Furthermore, we saw the new addition of the reconnaissance vehicle, the M8 Greyhound, which is pretty cool. I know they've teased that before, so you don't really have to talk about that. But what about those M10 tank destroyers? And that M18 Hellcat? Now that was pretty freaking exciting. And I'm definitely looking forward to getting my hands on one of those beasts, as tank destroyers hold a very special place in my heart. Now, in regards to German weaponry and vehicles, I didn't see too many new additions there. However, we do get the opportunity to play as Fallschirmjäger now with the FG-42s, so that's pretty neat. Especially because now it's a new introduced player model, and hopefully we can build on that for future theaters and future campaigns. But as far as any other vehicles or weaponry, I didn't see anything myself. But, of course, I've watched it a handful of times, and I'm sure I could have missed something. So if you guys see something that I haven't talked about, let me know in the comments, okay? Now, all in all, that pretty much encompasses everything that I wanted to talk about today. Fortunately, we're actually going to get our hands on this Chapter 3 in just 3 weeks' time. So very, very quick turnaround to get another campaign in comparison to when Chapter 2 came out. So it's really nice to see that these guys are really pushing forward and getting things done. The faster we can get Chapter 3 pumped out with a couple of maps, the faster we can move on to another theater of war if they plan to go further than that. So overall, I'm extremely pleased with the progress they're making, and I really look forward to seeing what these guys do in the future. Now, you guys know the deal. If you liked what you saw today, like, comment, subscribe. And let me know if I missed anything or if you want me to cover something in depth. And I'm really looking forward to this. I really am excited. I hope you guys are too. Thank you very much for watching today, guys. Love you very much, and I'll see you all on the battlefield.